for joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show. I am Nikki Medoro. She is Kim McAllister. We are live, not recorded, Gordon. And thank you, everyone, for being here. Click that thumbs up button to show your support for the show. You can also find us on Patreon and PayPal. The Super Chat is also live. You can find all the links below in the show notes and, of course, at the NikkiMedoroShow.com. That's the NikkiMedoroShow.com. I have my glasses on still. I'm going to keep them on. I'm getting blinder and blinder. I've my friend, I've set up a doctor's appointment. I'm going blind. I feel like they're going.
See, you think
my eyes
this
are
is
going.
a bad thing, but I still think you look hot for teacher. Full on hot for teacher
these
mode.
are my Amazon glasses. These are my Amazon glasses. I have like so my daughter's going blind, not blind, but like she needs glasses. Marley needs glasses. She's so sweet. Just hello, Marley, if you're watching. She's at school. It's homecoming week, so they're doing a bunch of stuff at school.
Sure.
And so my daughter looks at me the other day, and I love children. They hit an age in which I always make this analogy. It's kind of like underwear, okay? And my daughter's going to kill me for saying this. But your kids reach an age where you don't see them growing. So you don't know that they need like new underwear or something until they tell you, right? Like you need to tell me you need new undergarments because I'm not seeing your undergarments very much anymore, right?
You have a very prim house because my kids walk around in their undies.
Like my son does more than my daughter. My daughter
Jacob's like rolling on the couch in his underwear, and I'm like, oh,
my son's doing. My daughter, not so much.
It's a good thing we feel comfortable here.
And so my daughter, I'm like, I need to know these things. And so my daughter tells me the other day, she goes, yeah, she's listening to a book that she's supposed to be reading. And I'm like, why are you listening to it? And she's like, I'm having a very hard time reading the words. So I'm trying to listen to it to catch up. And I go, why is this the first time I am hearing about this, my child? Like, you need to tell me that you cannot see she's like, they're blurring a bit together. So I get a piece of paper to separate. I'm like, baby. So we're going to go get her some glasses and fix that.
Do at your pediatrician's office like the yearly testing?
Well, yeah, but I think it's just kind of starting for her. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, literally just brought her in right before for sports, and they did the eye test, and she passed. Mm-hmm. So I think this is kind of they didn't do a reading test. It was more along the lines of can you see the E, the D, the thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, just to let you know. But yeah, my eyesight's going. But gosh darn. Kaiser can't get an appointment for me until November. Wow. So I'll be rocking these readers.
So my husband wears glasses. Julia wears glasses. She has since she was a little kid, like first and second grade. At school, they gave a vision test, and that's when we knew.
Yeah.
I've never had an appointment with an eye doctor.
Ever?
Ever.
And you have good eyes?
I've never needed one.
I mean, so you've never had a hard time seeing anything?
No.
This is the first time in my life I've ever had to wear glasses. And I'm 40-something years old.
I have had appointments with audiologists because I have definite hearing problems.
Because of
radio.
Yeah, exactly.
But seeing good. So, if I'm going deaf, at least I still have one of my, faculties left.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
Oh, Luis, thank you so much for the $5 donation. Adios A's. The homeless A's will be in transitional living and simply known as the Athletics with no city affiliation next year. Pretty sad. You know what, guys? At the end of the show, I have a bunch of videos. We're going to say goodbye to the A's on the show. If you're not from the Bay, well, if you're not from California, I guess. But anyways, if you know baseball, you know that the A's have left Oakland. It was really sad today. They won their last game though, but we'll have some. I know if you watch ABC7, you probably heard Larry Beal's rant. Yeah. Which I will be playing a little bit of to John Fisher, the owner of the A's, because it was a load of BS, Fisher's letter to fans. But yeah, we said goodbye to the A's. It's so sad because honestly, Oakland's been through so much. But yeah, it was a sad day for so many fans. Did you see they were also trying to take the seats last night during last night's game? So people were trying. I don't know if they brought tools or if they were loose, but yeah, they got stopped. Because people still needed their seats today. Can you imagine if last night somebody took your seat that you paid for and then you had to, anyways. So anyways, at the end of the show, we will definitely be saying goodbye to the A's on the Nikki Medoro Show. We will also be talking in just a moment about, yes, New York Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted. it's crazy. But I I want to talk about one thing back east before we get to that, before we get to Eric Adams. Obviously Eric Adams is not our mayor. We know Eric Adams because he's the mayor of New York. But there are things I have learned about Eric Adams since this indictment that I was unaware of. That is, I'm not going to say Trump-esque, but kind of like that hilarity. Like, how did this guy get away with it? Elected, like just crazy things saying. Anyways, we're going to get into that in just a moment. The other thing that I'm just kind of keeping an eye on that we all should is, of course, Hurricane Helene.
Yeah.
It's making landfall in Florida. And guess whose parents, because this is always what happens, guess whose parents are flew to Florida today.
What are they doing in Florida?
I don't know. They're on the East Coast side, not the West Coast side of Florida. So it's just tropical storm warnings. But again, my parents must travel. It's like the role reversal for me. They always have to be traveling so that I have to worry about them, because this is the stage of life that I currently am in. And I don't know if anybody else is in this generation, or you must. So, I mean, let's see. I just updated it. Tallahassee Mayor John Daley tells CNN that they're bracing for it. 20-foot surge of water is what they're saying. That is, you can't survive that. I mean, I loved Roberta Gonzalez on KTVU this morning, had her camera guy bring out a 20-foot ladder just to show people, and it didn't even fit in the frame. Like, she's like, so it's tall. I love Roberta. I was like, yeah, we all know if that was a wall of water coming towards you, you're not going to survive. No. I don't understand why I don't live in hurricane area, obviously, but I love some of these stories. They're like, do not go outside. Is that a thing that people do in hurricane areas? Is that they go outside?
Okay, so it's kind of like here, right?
Right.
When you have warnings, please don't go to the beach. Please stay off the jetties. Please stay out of the ocean. There's a high surf warning. There's, threat level storm surges and the swells or whatnot. And guess who's out there with the surfboard? The big surfers, right?
Looking or kite for the surfing, best wave. Or somebody's like taking them off or something like that. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. But anyways, so yeah, we're keeping our eye on Hurricane Helene, and really keeping our prayers for people out there that it's not too bad. Ricky says, oh yeah, go ahead.
My boys in Jupiter, the other coast, just wet and windy there. Wes, who lives in Florida, was talking earlier on one of our other shows, our sister shows, and the after party, and was saying that he thought the power was going to go out, or he was worried that it was making landfall earlier this afternoon. It was a false alarm. Yeah. It's not due until sometime this evening, but he was worried about it, and I'm worried about him. So yeah I get it.
So this was about 43 minutes ago. It's approaching the Florida coast. It's gotten so close that they can almost capture the eye of the hurricane. Ooh. I just, and this is every year. Like, again, we say this all the time as Californians. Yeah. Earthquakes, they happen all the time. There's earthquakes happening all of the time because the earth's constantly moving. But
usually they're little.
A hurricane? I mean, and I love that. I was talking to somebody, the storm shutters. It's laughable. Putting your house on stilts. Like this is an answer to that? Like, no. Just don't. Tornado Alley? No. I'm not living there. I know, teacher. It's not, teacher Lori. It's not hitting the east side of Florida. I checked too. It's just there was a tropical storm watch or whatever. I double checked. But again,
she was casting ill wishes toward Mar-a-Lago. That's funny.
Oh no, that's exactly right. Because my parents, and you guys know about my dad. Yeah, my mom's like, we're gonna go to Mar-a-Lago and take a picture and send it to you. And I'm like, pass.
You can skip that.
Pass. I don't need that. I don't even need that picture on my phone. So yeah, and you just gotta live and let live. You know what I mean? Like as I need that picture on my phone.
Who knows? Maybe they'll be able to come away with some national security secrets. Have lunch and dinner at Mar-a-Lago. Go into the club, and you never know who's waving what around in there.
Exactly. What I just want them to go, stay, come back, be safe, and that's it. So anyways, all right. Other East Coast news, of course, Eric Adams, the New York mayor, has been indicted in a federal corruption investigation. Now, last week, you remember, we talked about P. Diddy, and all the
Mm-hmm.
charges, and this is just getting gross. If you're following the P. Diddy thing and the baby oil and the lube and all that story, just on a side note about the P. Diddy thing, which I find hilarious because we talked about it a lot last week, he tried to blame the baby oil thing that he buys it in bulk from Costco, and Costco actually needed to put out a statement that they do not sell that much baby oil. They don't sell it in that quantity. So I just think that that's just a hilarious yet sickening side note, because everything that's coming out is just sad and gross, and he's going away for a very long time. I'm just saying. But anyways, back to Eric Adams. So New York City Mayor Eric Adams, apparently he's being accused in a laundry list of federal indictments. Now, a lot of this stuff is coming out has to do with apparently accepting like luxury travel and gifts from foreign business people and at least
Mm-hmm.
one Turkish government official. It's 5 federal public corruption charges, and of course, he is denied all wrongdoing, and he's also like AOC. A lot of people are asking him to step down. He has absolutely refused to do so. Now, if you don't think, what do you think about that? I mean, obviously, he does not think that he's guilty. He definitely says, he's put out a video saying, I am not guilty. I'm going to fight this. This is what you do. This is what happens when they come for you, type of thing. Um, I also think that there was an article in CNN, which I found very interesting, that brings in Donald Trump. And they were making this kind of analogy that it goes against Donald Trump's kind of accusation that the federal government, the Department of Justice, never kind of goes after Democrats and only goes after Republicans.
Right.
And yet, obviously, Eric Adams is a
Bob
Democrat.
Menendez,
Yes, exactly. I feel like
Michael
Democrats,
Weiner, or whatever his name is,
Scott
Weiner.
Wiener,
Yeah.
always goes after
No,
Democrats.
Scott Wiener's a good guy in California.
No,
That Wiener was a different guy.
what was his name? With
Yeah.
Huma Abedin.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, Democrats go after their own, sometimes to a fault. You know what I mean? Like, we're like, step down. We don't even want to deal with the nonsense of you, right? So I just feel like Eric Adams, he needs to distance himself as much as possible, but he's not going to. Again, I feel like mayors, even though he's the New York City mayor, and it's a big, it's obviously a big job. It's very high profile. I don't know if he's adamant right now that he's not going to step down. But since, in light of this indictment, and of course it's going to play out, a lot of things have come out about Eric Adams that you may not have been aware of. Okay. Apparently, several years ago, we're going to have fun with this. Okay. Several years ago, I think a decade, maybe more ago, he came out with a PSA. This was before he became mayor. Did you see this PSA?
No.
On how to find contraband in your child's room. Okay, are you ready to watch this PSA? Okay.
Sure.
Okay, here we go. This is Eric Adams before he was mayor, obviously. And it's just it's odd. I don't know why. It's an odd video. And I couldn't stop laughing.
You can look in
That's
the
enough.
jury box.
But yeah, I
but if
just
you
feel like, yes, and Laura, you're absolutely right. He was law enforcement, but it was just this kind of PSA, I guess, backfired then, and it's just making the rounds now, because everyone is just kind of being wondering a little bit about who is Eric Adams, and was this a little bit kind of showing just the kind of man that he is? And there was this op-ed that was written about Eric Adams and just kind of the gaffes that the guy has been making over the years that should have basically disqualified him a long time ago. I mean, and I was comparing him to kind of Trump and the things that came out of his mouth. For instance, saying that, that men have more prostates than women do.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Like things
Women
like that.
don't have a prostate.
Exactly.
What are you talking about? Nonsensical
Yes,
speech? Oh,
apparently there's been a lot of things over over the history of
just
Eric
saying. I mean,
Adams.
last time I checked,
Yeah, I haven't, I mean, I don't need to check because I definitely know that I do not have
pretty
one,
sure. Yeah.
that I don't have one. But it just, again, it makes it seem like Eric Adams shouldn't have been elected in the first place
Yeah.
if people had done their due diligence. But again, he has this long kind of history in New York. He really, really wanted to be New York mayor. There's been this long history of him wanting to be. And so we're going to have to see how this plays out. But it's, I don't know. It's a fascinating thing to watch from the other side of the coast. And again, going back to the Democrats kind of not persecuting, but holding their own accountable. AOC and others have said, you should step down. This doesn't make us look good.
Lori says he's not wrong. I had stolen rifles in my mattress when I was 16. I hid lots of things in lots of places, unscrewed the back of speakers and hid pot and pills in there. Are we naive? Do I need to go
Lori.
through Julia's room with a fine-tooth comb? If
I
she
love you,
found me in there
Lori.
looking
I
at through
swear to
her
God.
stuff, she'd say, "What are you doing? What are you looking for?" I don't know, bullets or pills. She'd laugh. I mean,
I think the thing he got vilified for so much is like just
yeah.
how open it was. Like, yeah, just look behind a picture and there's bullets. Like, come on. I mean, it was so obvious about the locations that all of them were. But, as our kids are in high school, I will say this. I just had a conversation with one of my friends, and
Mhm.
she had shared that, she had found a vape on
Right.
her kid. And it was very upsetting. And I can imagine how
Totally.
upsetting that is. And
Yeah.
now let me ask you, Mom, okay, if you found a vape on your child,
Uh-huh.
what is the appropriate quote unquote punishment for that?
Hmm.
If you found something that wasn't, I mean, I guess it's illegal because you're not of age. Okay. So, but not illegal like a gun. Okay. And I guess it's a drug, but it's not like pot. Um, what do you do? What do you do?
Okay, so I talked to a mom who's this
Mhm.
really conservative woman, goes to the Catholic Church. We disagree on some politics, but she's a big volunteer and so am I. So
Mhm.
we have that in common and she's really, really nice and kind,
Right.
except for the whole Trump thing, but whatever.
We try to look past these things.
I digress.
We're trying to build bridges. Yes. Okay.
So she has a daughter that's a couple years older than ours
Okay.
and a daughter the same age as ours. And so her daughter was a vapor and
Okay.
that it was found the daughter's backpack. And I
Mhm.
think her daughter's like 20 now, but back then she was in high school and a freshman in high school. And I said, "What are you going to do?" And she said, "Well, I figure there are worse things that she could do."
That is
And
true.
so she said, sometimes you just have to live with it and let
She's
them know
letting
what's
her vape?
happening. Yeah, didn't take it away. Didn't take it away. Figures that, as long as she's only doing that, that you have to pick your battles and that would be okay. Now, this is not the way I would operate, Nikki. And I was flabbergasted
I'm a
when I
little
heard her say
flabbergasted
that.
as well.
I was like thinking to myself, internally, I'm screaming, "What are you thinking?" Because the
Yeah.
first thing I'm doing, that vape gets crushed and
Yeah.
destroyed.
Yeah.
And then there's a grounding. And then
Yeah.
there's the possibility of maybe a threat of switching schools if we're caught again. I mean, there's
That's a bit
hell.
extreme.
Oh, no, no. Extreme is right. There's hell to pay.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Let me pull you off the
I'm not
ledge.
messing around.
Switching schools is not going to stop the vaping. All the kids are doing. I mean, I don't hate to be like all the kids are doing it because I'm not all
Sure.
doing it, but it's not like if she goes to a different school, they're not going to be doing it. Is what I'm.
Well, in this area, different schools kind of have different issues from what
Don't.
I
Nope.
hear.
Nope. 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 Do
Like
not think that the
there's
hoity-toity schools are not
there's
doing it.
the
I
at the
went to a
you know what they do at the hoity-toity schools?
harder drugs.
They do
They do
different
harder
kind of
drugs,
drugs. That's
expensive
right.
drugs. That's what they do.
They're popping Adderall even if it's
Thank
not
you.
prescribed.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's
Exactly.
something everywhere, but
Mhm.
the threat of it, I don't know. I mean, you have to do something. I think I would. I think the level of my freak out,
Mhm.
the earthquake style nature with which I
Right.
would lose my I hope would make her not do that. But
Yeah.
maybe that's the wrong style. Maybe this other mom has it right. You know, maybe you just have to be cool about it, because the more you freak out, the more they're going to want to
Yeah.
do it. I don't know what's right
Well,
or wrong.
I've had long conversations with both of my kids because
Mm-hmm.
they have, I mean, my daughter has talked to me about it. I talked to both of my kids about it because I love my husband to death, but
Yeah.
he had, and I'm so proud of him. He has stopped, but he had a very, very, very hard time, not only quitting cigarettes, but
Right.
quitting vaping. It took him so
And he
long.
did it?
And he did it. He finally quit
Yay.
vaping. It was, and the kids were on him, and
Mm-hmm.
and it was the best kind of experience for them to go through, because I kept
Sure.
saying, you saw how hard it was for dad to do it. You saw how many
Right.
times he tried, how many times you asked him to do it, and how many times he kept saying yes and then went back. And yes, and then what had nothing to do with not wanting to, right? So you know how hard it is to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go through something like that? And they know. And so I use that as an example. And my daughter has told me, and I'm very proud of my kid. I mean, she has even like not hung out with girls that she actually likes
Yeah.
too much at school, because she just knows that that's what they do. You know what
Same
I
with
mean?
Julia.
And she likes
Absolutely.
them. She's like, they're
Mm-hmm.
cool people, but I just know if I'm going to be with them, that's what they're going to do. And they're going to
Right.
get in trouble, and I don't want to get in trouble, and that sort of
Yeah.
thing. And I'm proud of her. And we have an honest conversation, and I don't know how we got on this tangent, but I'm just saying, like, I would say if my kid came to me and said I vaped or I was vaping, punishment doesn't make it go away. It doesn't make
Right.
the they're going to be by themselves. They're going to be with their friends, right? They're at some point they're
Yeah.
going to have to be their own person.
Yeah.
Who are you in that moment when it's in front of you again? And I'm going to be like, you need to be a person that says, I just don't do that. I don't like it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just don't do it. And they just have to get that in their head, and it's a hard thing. Peer pressure sucks so much. And yeah, it's a tough one. It really, really is. And it
So I
sucks.
did this story on the after party the other day, and you know
Uh-huh.
how a lot of vapes look like pens, or like
Mm.
these USB drives that you stick in your
Yep.
computer? Okay,
Yep.
now they're a little bit different. Here's a picture of the latest vape. They're attached to video games or Bluetooth style devices. Like, they look
Fabulous.
like mini cell phones, and
Fabulous.
they're vapes and electronic devices at the same time.
Ah,
So you think
fabulous.
it's like a little video game or a phone, and it's a vape. So just so
Great.
you know,
That's enough to
if
make.
you're in the room looking for bullets and contraband, look for that
Yeah.
thing too.
Oh, and
Yeah.
by the way, somebody was asking about the cocktail. I am having my cocktail, by the way. I'm sure Kim is drinking her iced tea or something over there. But yes,
I just
I do have
cracked
my
open a
Medoro meal.
coconut LaCroix. Ooh, your Maduro
Ooh,
mule.
I did make my own Medoro meal.
Nice.
I love my husband. He's like, "What am I making you?" And I'm like, "Oh, I hurried up and made it myself." So, yeah, the problem with the vapes is they don't look like a vape. I saw one;
Mm-hmm.
it was really small, and you can hide it anywhere. You know what I mean? I remember, because back in the day, I just smoked cigarettes. Hide in the boxes, like stuffing them in my bra as if the square breast is totally not noticeable. You know what I mean? So it's like absolutely so stupid. But yeah, it's dumb. It's dumb. It's dumb. And I think that's just what we have to get through to people so, so much. But again, it's who are you when I'm not watching you? That's what I try to get through to my kids
Mm-hmm.
so much. So yeah. Thanks for following along on this tangent from Eric Adams to vaping. But yeah, be a good person even when no one's watching, and just don't start a habit that's going to take you forever to break. Louise, thank you so much. And I'm loving that you're bringing up Mark Cuban, because that brings us into our next topic. And thank you for the $10 donation. Louise says, Mark Cuban is crushing people in interviews in support of Kamala. He is so articulate and truly self-made. He has such credibility in the business world. He is what Trump pretends to be. Go Cube. Yes, because what he is talking about is what I wanted to play for you guys. Donald Trump, I don't know what, again, there was somebody that was saying earlier, and I forget who it was. I think it was Rachel Maddow. She was saying, she was going off on how she thinks that Trump's trying to lose by some of the things that he's saying out loud. But Trump was saying something about wanting to put a tariff. Oh, here it is, on John Deere. Did you guys see this whole speech that he was giving about wanting to put this tariff on John Deere? Here he is.
Behind me, John Deere tractors. I know a lot about John Deere. I love the company, but as you know, they've announced a few days ago that they're going to move a lot of their manufacturing business to Mexico. I'm just notifying John Deere right now. If you do that, we're putting a 200% tariff on everything that you want to sell into the United States, so that if I win, John Deere is going to be paying a 200%. They haven't started it yet. Maybe they haven't even made the final decision yet, but I think they have. John Deere is going to, and anybody else that does this, because it's hurting our farmers, it's hurting our manufacturing. And if you do that, you're going to have a 200% tariff put on the product that you make in Mexico, right across the border. They think they're going to make product cheaper in Mexico and then sell it in for the same prices they did before, make a lot of money by getting rid of our labor and our jobs, and really a great name, because John Deere is a great name. I buy a lot of John Deere, tremendous. I'm one of their big customers. I buy a lot of John Deere product as a private person. But if they're going to do that, we're going to put a 200% tariff on everything that they want to send back into the United States, which means one of two things. Our country is going to make a lot of money, or they're not going to build, they're not going to open, and or they're going to sell it to another country. They're entitled to do that. If they want to build in the country, in the United States, there's no tariff. You can go ahead and you can build in any one of the 50 states. You can go ahead. But if they don't want to do that, we're going to put a 200% tariff on John Deere. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to announce very shortly, if they think I'm going to win, or if I do win, they're going to announce that they're not going to build in Mexico.
So he announces this unprovoked, like and people are saying he just sees John Deere's, like people are like, he just saw John Deere and then pulled this out of his butt. Like that's literally what so many people thought that he did. Now this is, I'm going to first play you Mitch McConnell.
I have a quick question before you move forward.
Yeah.
Is that like the time when Trump was manufacturing ties that were made in China?
China, yeah.
China?
But
Did he put a massive tariff on his own products that he was having created overseas? So it's okay for him, but it's not okay for others? Now, I'm not saying that things shouldn't be made in America or that I wouldn't prefer it that way, but wow, talk about hypocrite.
But who does he think's going to pay the price for this? You know what I mean? Like we're going to end up be paying more. And so this is what Mitch McConnell, again, sad turtle Mitch McConnell had to say.
Alex. Former President Trump has proposed a 200% tariff on John Deere tractors made in Mexico. Are you concerned that some of these tariff proposals by the GOP nominee could drive up costs for consumers or for urban exporters in Kentucky, for example?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of tariffs. They raise the prices for American consumers.
Yes.
I'm more of a free trade kind of Republican that remembers how many jobs are created by the exports that we engage in. So I'm not a tariff fan.
It's as if Trump forgot to be a Republican. Like it's as if he forgot what the party actually supports. And nobody wants to pay high tariffs, and it just doesn't make any sense. So now going back to the comment about Mark Cuban, he's on Fox News. And again, he's a big supporter of Kamala Harris. He goes on X, Mark Cuban does, and not only does these videos, but he goes and responds to people. I don't know if you follow Mark Cuban on X, but he just goes off and he says, he admits I was an early supporter of Trump. He actually thought, he's like, yeah, maybe businessman acumen, but he definitely listened to Trump, saw Trump for what he was, and completely realized what a grifter he was.
Mark, you argue that, and it's always good to have you, you argue that Donald Trump's are particularly, I think you used the word insane. What did you mean by that?
Yep. Well, first of all, strategic tariffs aren't bad. So if a company's trying to dump, or a country's trying to dump in the United States and we have a manufacturer there, tariff them, that's great. But across the board tariffs, 10 or 20% is just inflationary. It's a tax on the American consumer. But to make matters even worse, and what's truly insane, when you threaten a legendary company like John Deere with a 200% tariff if they move, but only a 10 or 20% tariff on China, what you're doing is you're making it easy for the Chinese competitors to take business away from John Deere. That is the definition of insane.
Yep, you're muted. But I will say this is not the only policy that Republicans are shying away from when it comes to Trump. He wanted to tamper with something called the SALT tax, which is
Yes.
about a state and local income. They don't like that. They don't like this with the whole tariff situation. There's another thing that he proposed a couple days ago that Republicans are like, yeah, we don't think so. No.
Yeah. No, I mean, Trump's out of his freaking mind. And again, holding him accountable, and I don't know if anybody's going to do anything about it, but did you see that whole scene that he did in the grocery store where he's handing that woman money? I think I have that. I mean, and I don't know where he got the money because the clip was really short. Here it is. I don't know if you guys saw it, but here he is.
Here, it's going to go down a little bit. It just went down $100.
I mean, I don't know where he got it. It was a very quick clip, but apparently he gave the woman like $100. Like, you can't do that. People are saying he just bought her vote, which again, as a presidential candidate, you're not supposed to give people money.
And voters are not supposed to take money. But I asked this question today to David Katz, who's a former federal prosecutor and now a defense attorney.
Right.
And he said, technically, he wasn't standing outside the voting booth saying $20 to vote for me. So there's a case to be made that it wasn't in relation to voting and to buying votes. Exactly, he is. But Katz said it's unrealistic that he'd be prosecuted for that. But still, it does smack of buying votes and throwing money around. I don't know.
I just, again, and I hate to say the same things that we always say about Trump, but again, it just seems like he's never held to the same standard that if Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or any Democrat did it, we would never hear the end of it, right? We would never hear the end of it. Oh my God, so much corruption. They're such liars. And Trump can get away with everything. I mean, I was watching the football game, the terrible loss Niner game on Sunday with my dad. And, there's just a Kamala Harris presidential ad. And, he just can't not comment, and I'm just doing my best to not say anything. And it's as if she's saying the most terrible things. And I don't know if we live in the same world. That's the problem with politics nowadays. It's as if we're not living in the same world. And it blows my mind. And I know I always say the same thing, but it's just because we get our information from different sources.
Totally.
And it's, but I just, how do you miss the same things? I just don't get it. It boggles my mind.
Especially if you're retired and you're watching a lot of TV.
I guess. But how do you miss the headlines about Trump? Like, how do you miss that, Kim?
Because their headlines are different than everyone else's. Because their stories are different than everyone else's. Because what they focus on is different than any other network.
But how do you?
Because they're spinning it to look a certain way. And if that's what you're spoon-fed for hours and hours a day as you sit in your recliner, then that's what you've swallowed whole, and that's what you're regurgitating. That's why.
I guess. But I mean, okay. But there are certain stories that just you can't miss. Like the Clay Higgins thing, right? So there's this Republican from Louisiana. He's a congressman. And he tweets on Wednesday. This is what he tweets. Now, it's offensive. I'm just going to warn you. He tweets, LOL. These Haitians are wild. Eating pets, voodoo, nastiest country in the Western Hemisphere, cults, slapstick gangsters, but damned if they don't feel all sophisticated now, filing charges against our president and VP. All these thugs better get their mind right and their ass out of our country before January 20th. Okay, so he tweets that out and then deletes it. Okay, now then he's questioned on it. Okay, by CNN. And this is what he says. He says, it's all true. I could put up another controversial post tomorrow if you want me to. I mean, we do have freedom of speech. I'll say what I want. It's not a big deal to me. It's like something stuck to the bottom of my boot. Just scrape it off and move on with my life. I just feel like if the roles were reversed, there would be no forgiveness on the other hand. You know what I mean? There would be no freedom of speech. It would just be clutching of pearls. How could you? I mean, these are the same people where, you can't say the word penis in front of them or in front of their 13-year-old kid because God forbid, right? I mean,
Yep.
these are the same people, right? I just don't get these people. I really don't get them at all. Like, what is offensive to you? What is offensive? Because he's saying this in front of children. He's saying this, and it's post, and he's saying these about Americans. Just because they're Haitian Americans
Yeah.
doesn't mean they're not still Americans. Doesn't mean they're not still here legally.
It doesn't mean they're not still human beings.
And again, and he
Yeah.
says it with such contempt and it's not as if these Republicans don't know about it. It has to be making their headlines. You know what I mean? It's not like Fox News is ignoring it. It's not like Newsmax is not ignoring it. That they have to be saying something about it, but they just don't care. Is that what it is? They just don't care. And if they don't care, then that's what makes me really, really sad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just it boggles my mind. That's all it is. It just really, really boggles my mind that they just don't care about certain things and care about other things. It just screams of hypocrisy to me.
In our schools and in our homes, we try to teach our kids about kindness and empathy and putting yourself in other shoes and being nice to people, right?
Right.
At least that's what's going on over here at my kids' school as well. They
Yeah.
have kindness week and they've, seminars about being nice to each other, right? Because kids can be brutal. We know this.
Absolutely.
And maybe the reason we have to teach kids that is because it's in our nature to be mean to each other. I don't know, something.
Maybe.
But the process or the effort to teach kindness to kids was clearly missed because it seems like politics is now all about othering and meanness and pushing others down.
Exactly.
And I'm just so it exhausts me and it feels
does.
so ugly and dirty and bad.
Sandy says Democrats are held to a higher standard than Republicans. I don't understand it. It makes no sense. And again, but Republicans are, they're the Christian, they're the Catholic, they're the, the moral party. We're the heathens that just want to abort all babies and change everybody's gender. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
they make us out to be the party
But
of
people believe that. People believe that.
We send kids to school and change their gender. Believe me, now that I work in a school, I just got a box sent to me today because I needed tissues. You know what I mean? For the health office.
Mhm.
And they send me, this just like 5 boxes, and they're the smallest boxes because I've got to make do. I can ask for more later. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we're not changing anybody's freaking gender. Nobody's having surgery in the back freaking room. We're divvying out tissues. You know what I mean? You guys are so stupid if you believe that crap. It's so
Telling you.
dumb. It's so dumb. I don't know, man. It's so stupid. Oh, Kevin
Eric has
says, go ahead.
Eric
Go
has a
ahead.
good point. He said if he
Uh-huh.
really thought that, he wouldn't have deleted his post. I kind of disagree, though. I
Yeah.
think sometimes it's that thing you type first that you really think, and then you think, oh,
Yeah.
that's not going to be well received, or I'm going to get a lot of blowback from that. Maybe I should click delete. Maybe I shouldn't have been so quick and so hasty to post what's really inside. So that's probably really is what he thinks.
Yeah, I bet he deleted it and then he got support from the maggots and then he's like, screw it. I got enough support on my side, so I'm going to double down and be like, you know what? I'll
Mhm.
put another controversial post out tomorrow and screw all you guys because he's
Yeah.
from Louisiana, and I don't want to like throw all Louisianans, in with him, but I bet
Mhm.
they're like, screw it, whatever. I got enough supporters that I can say whatever the hell I want, you know.
Sandy says, no kid is having surgery to change their
Exactly.
gender. It's as stupid as the thing about women getting abortions in the 9th month. No one's
Exactly.
doing that either.
Exactly. You know
Yeah.
what I watched, Sandy, just the other day was, and I've watched it so many times, and if you haven't watched it, you should totally. Pete Buttigieg's response to people to that question about
It's the best.
the third trimester, quote unquote, late term abortion. Should there ever be a line? If you haven't seen, and again, I do believe
Brilliant.
he could be
He's
in our
brilliant.
lifetime our president because
Oh,
he is
It's
so
incredible.
freaking
Smart.
good. He's smart, he's
Yeah.
empathetic, and it's real, it's sincere. Like, you know, there's nobody writing it for him. He means it. He
Right.
means it. Nobody wrote that answer for him. And he's a gay guy.
Yeah.
And he said that. Like, he's not a woman.
Oh,
Like, he has
it annoyed the hell out of me. Why didn't we come up with that? Because that's exactly, it's like he's
It's so
able
true.
to think like a
Yes.
like
not like a woman, but he understood it like a woman. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And he's so right on the money. It's like he gave words to the things we all knew.
Yes, it's like he understood
Yeah.
it because he's a human freaking being. I love Pete
Mhm.
Buttigieg. I swear to God, when he runs again, I will vote for
Check.
him.
Yep.
He has my vote. Hands freaking down.
Pete Buttigieg is the stand-in for JD Vance when it comes to the debate prep that Tim Walz is doing. There's a vice presidential
Is that
debate that's
true?
coming up next week. Yeah. And so they find people to
I
help
love
them prep.
that.
So Buttigieg is pretending to be Vance in this debate.
I
So
love
Walz is
that.
debating Buttigieg. Can you
'Cause
imagine
he
how
knows.
prepared Walz
He
is going to
knows
be?
those people. Yes, he knows.
I mean, because JD Vance is either Pete Buttigieg is laughing his way through this because he's having to dumb it all down,
right.
or he's actually doing a real debate, in which case Walz is going to come away over prepared.
Right.
So
I mean,
what a
it's-
person to help you, right?
Exactly. Okay. If you want to see, since somebody hasn't seen it and they asked for it, let's see. Can I find it? Am I that good?
Oh, I'm sure you could find it really
Am I
fast.
that good? Okay. I think I'm that good. Okay. Here we go.
Wait, I have
found
to
it.
say that we got $20 from Janet R.
Thank you, Janet.
She
I
says it's
love
a
you.
little something from my two favorite YouTube ladies. Love Thursdays at 5.
I
We love you, Janet.
Thank
Did
you.
you
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
know that yesterday, I think it was yesterday,
Mhm.
was Janet's and her husband's 20th anniversary?
Oh,
20
Janet.
years. Yeah.
Congratulations. It's mine next year. It's a big one. Congratulations. Congratulations. All right, Sandy, just for you. Just
her the
for you.
balloons.
Thank you. And congratulations. 20 years. There's not a lot of people that do that anymore. All right,
Yeah.
here we go. Because it is the best response ever. Here we
Mhm.
go.
Well, I think the dialogue has got so caught up on where you draw the line that we've gotten away from the fundamental question of who gets to draw the line. And I trust women to draw the line when it's their own life.
Here we go.
So just to be clear, you're saying that you would be okay with a woman well into the third trimester deciding to abort her pregnancy.
Look, these hypotheticals are usually set up in order to provoke a strong emotional.
In fairness,
all right, so
it's not hypothetical. There's 6,000 women a year who get abortions in the third.
That's right,
trimester.
representing less than 1% of cases.
I know,
But
but 6,000 pregnancies.
let's take ourselves in.
Here we go. Here we go.
So let's put ourselves in the shoes of a woman in that situation. If it's that late in your pregnancy, that means almost by definition, you've been expecting to carry it to term. We're talking about women who have perhaps chosen a name, women who have purchased a crib, families that then get the most devastating medical news of their lifetime, something about the health or the life of the mother that forces them to make an impossible, unthinkable choice. And the bottom line is, as horrible as that choice is, that woman, that family may seek spiritual guidance, they may seek medical guidance, but that decision's not going to be made any better, medically or morally, because the government is dictating how that decision should be made.
Boom. I mean, you could not put into words anything better than what Pete Buttigieg said right there. Anything better. You're muted. You're muted.
And did you notice that was a Fox News town hall?
Yeah, exactly. And
So
and
he said it to a bunch of people that needed to hear it.
that needed to hear
Yes,
it.
yes.
And it was so There's no better answer than that.
I know.
There is no better answer because again, that's the truth. Late term abortion, after birth abortion. Like Trump is insane for saying that. And did you hear how Trump is like, women no longer have to live in fear? So trust me, I'm your savior. Are you insane? There is
Crazy.
no one I can trust least than Donald J. Trump.
No.
I mean, again, or the Republican Party. Yeah. I mean, I can't wait. I can't wait till Pete Buttigieg runs for president again. I hands down believe that he will run again. And I can't wait to vote for him.
Yep.
I cannot wait to vote for him because he's excellent. He's so good at it. And I can't wait to. I've never wanted to watch a vice presidential debate more than I want to watch this one. I mean, who cares, honestly? But JD Vance is an asshat. Did you hear about the dossier on X that was released? Did you hear about this? Okay.
Tell me.
So Ken, okay, I have to get his name right because it's Ken Kleptentine, I think his name is. Let me get it right.
Never heard of this fellow.
He's on X a lot. Okay. So he apparently got a hold of this dossier about JD Vance. And it's all the crap that we already knew about JD Vance speaking bad about Donald Trump. Okay. And so let me get his name right. Ken Kleptentine or something. Anyways, if you look it up, all you have to do is Google JD Vance dossier into Google and it'll get to Ken Kleptentine's website will be right at the top and it'll have the dossier. And all it is page by page of all the way JD Vance has basically given up his moral code to bend the knee to Donald Trump. And he spoke out about Donald Trump, all of these different ways. Okay. And apparently, by posting this on X, Elon, I believe in freedom of speech, Musk, suspended the guy's account. Okay, so Elon Musk is full of crap. Anybody that speaks highly of Elon Musk's belief in so-called freedom of speech. And I will also share with you my conspiracy theory about Elon Musk and why I think that he is bowed to Donald Trump and all of this nonsense and gone crazy on X is because he owes so much money because he has blown it all on X and everything else. I mean, the guy, I
thought he was on the world's richest list guy.
No, I think the guy is so beholden to foreign to foreign nations that he is just giving up so much. But that's just my conspiracy theory. You can believe in it or not. That's just me. But anyways, no, I know that. Hold on. I got to get his name right. You guys are going to laugh at me.
I like that.
I know. Where is it? No, don't stop. Okay. JD Vance. If I put it in there, I'm going to get banned myself. Hold on. JD Vance dossier. I got to look it up. Damn it. Okay. His name is Ken Klippenstein. Ken Klippenstein was suspended from X for publishing the JD Vance dossier. That is his name. Okay. I have the cocktail for you, Gordon. Okay. So if you look it up, just Google JD Vance dossier in Google. You could read it yourself. It is so funny. And JD Vance is going to be an asset. And did you also hear that JD Vance's wife literally had to answer a question on whether or not he wears eyeliner? Apparently, he does not. These are the questions. These are the hard questions that our politics has sunk to in 2024. All right, I'll take a big sip, Mindy.
I have questions about Usha Vance.
With some ice.
I mean,
so JD Vance sold his soul to the devil. You know who also sold her soul? Melania freaking Trump. Did you see the interview with Stephanie Roll? Right? Is it Stephanie Roll? Yeah. Who thinks that Melania Trump, raise your hand, was paid big money to do that interview? I absolutely do.
Sell her book.
You're muted for some reason, Kim.
Oh, that's weird.
I can't hear you. No, I can't hear you anymore.
Can you hear me now?
Do something to your microphone.
I don't know.
Okay, we lost Kim for a little bit. Nope. Okay. Well, I'm going to play some sound while Kim figures out why I can't hear. So this is Melania Trump. I was wondering why you were so quiet. Okay. So this is Melania Trump. Melania Trump, who is, speaking about how great of a husband Donald Trump is. She is doing her first interview in a long, long time. Okay, so she's on with this Stephanie Rule, right? I think it's Stephanie Rule on MSNBC. First, she's talking about the language. She's blaming the Democrats or the Democratic Party. First, she's talking about how nice Donald Trump is, which I think is really freaking laughable. Hold on.
Branding him as a threat to democracy, calling him vile names.
He is.
They only fueling a toxic atmosphere and giving power all of these people that they want to do harm to him. This needs to stop. This needs to stop. The country needs to unite. And I encourage everybody to read my letter that I wrote on July 14 again, because that cannot continue.
Letter was very powerful. What made you get to the point of writing that letter?
That's how I felt. Mm-hmm. That's how I felt.
How do you feel when people say they don't like him? What do you wish they knew about him?
That he's really a family man. He loves his family. He loves this country. And all he wants to build better. And
I don't know why she says it like
prosperous.
That, but no.
Yeah, he's just strong. He's not afraid to.
No, he's not
talk
strong.
about the way
Okay,
he really
did
is.
anybody hear that? I'm going to rewind it really quickly. She does say it. And I know she probably doesn't mean to say it, but she does say he's not strong. Let's listen. Let's listen together very closely. Listen. When Ainsley says he's strong, Melania Trump says he's not strong. Listen.
No, he's not
Talk
strong.
about.
See? He does. She does say it. We can listen to the rest of it while we wait for Kim.
The way
You
it
could
really
see
is.
the way he was when he was shot.
No, I know somebody lost their lives, and I don't like to believe in conspiracies. I still feel this is fake as F, but whatever.
That in the ear, that the way he stood up and he said, fight, 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 because we cannot allow that to happen.
Okay, but
And Kim, I think it was on my end. I apologize. Can anybody hear Kim? Is it on my end or is it on her end? Hello, Kim. No, it's not on my end. See, I didn't think it was on my end. Everyone was saying they can hear you, but I, for some reason, cannot hear Kim. Who can hear Kim? Okay. Anyways, I'm going to play more of Melania while we figure out. See, Gordon can hear Kim. I don't know why. Unmute your guest. There we go. I apologize, people. Can't hear her now. I don't know what. Anyways, I'm going to play more of Melania's interview. Anyways, okay, so here is Melania on the Mar-a-Lago raid. Now, again, as she's talking about this raid on her house, listen to what she says, because it's not as if she's really saying anything at all.
the raid on Mar-a-Lago, the house manager texts you and says the FBI is outside the house. They had access to my bedroom, closets, office, and rummaged through my personal items. Even searched Barron's room, you say. So how invasive was that? Did it make you angry? How did you feel?
Yeah, it made me angry. Yes, invasion of privacy. And the way it was done I was really surprised.
You wanted to see it for your own eyes. With your own eyes, what did it look like when you walked back in your house that had been raided?
I saw unpleasant stuff that nobody wants to see it. And you get angry because, nobody should be putting up with that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Some person, I don't even know who or how many people, they went through my stuff.
I mean, again, the things they found during the raid at Mar-a-Lago and the pictures that we saw, they went through your stuff. There were boxes and boxes of documents that Donald Trump was not supposed to have. I mean, and again, why did she not say, well, what about all those boxes, Melania? Did you ever ask your husband, why, Donald? do you have all of these classified documents in this bathroom? Why are they stacked up on the toilet, on the sink, when they're not supposed to be? Like, these are the questions a wife should be asking. And again, I just don't understand why this woman is defending a husband that has humiliated her if it's not for money. Like, I just feel like it is for money. And Kim has mentioned this before that, well, one, Melania knew who she married. And if you marry somebody like that, then there is something similar in possibly your personalities. And she's been with him for a very long time. I would say that if you've been with Donald Trump this long and put up with this much crap, in for a penny, in for a pound. I am not getting out now unless I am getting what I'm owed, right? But then there is this. And this is where she compares the presidency under Donald Trump to where the world is now. And I am sorry, but was she living in the world with Trump? Because remember the jacket that she wore? I mean, I know that she didn't really care.
Well, how I see it is the records speaks for itself. The country is suffering. People are not able to buy usual necessities for the families.
And at the same time that she does this interview, by the way, they're hawking like $100,000 watch on like Trump.org or some crap. And she's like selling her Melania book that there's like no details about, by the way. Like, she's not giving anything away. I don't even understand. But please, like, she knows the suffering of the average American, but I digress.
We have wars going on around the world.
There were wars going on when you were president.
Soldiers
he was president.
are dying.
There were soldiers
They
dying.
were dying under this administration
and under the
because
Trump
of
administration
weak
as
leadership.
well.
The border is open and dangerous. A lot of fentanyl is coming over, killing our
Still was happening under Trump.
youth. It's very hard to see. And an economy, it's really not great. Inflation is high. And if we compare these 4 years under this administration compared to 4 years under my husband as commander-in-chief, he was leading the country through peace, through strength. And the border was safer than ever before. We didn't have any wars. People were prospering. They had jobs. They could support their families. So I think American people need to decide what they really want. Maybe some, strong tweets.
Strong tweets.
But everything else great for this country. So it's all in the American people's hands on November 5th.
I mean, completely forgetting Charlottesville, completely forgetting everything. I mean, forgetting how divided we were, forgetting how divided America was under Donald Trump. We had no wars. I just can't even imagine going back to how it was in America under Donald Trump at all. Let's keep our fingers crossed. No. I don't know what happened. Hold on. Let me see if it's me. I mean, I can't understand. It's not me. We had you so nicely. Let me edit my mic settings for you. I don't know what happened to Kim McAllister. There's Kim. Nope. I don't know. Muted, unmuted. I am so sorry, my friend.
Maybe you can hear me this way.
I can't hear you there.
Okay.
Why can I hear you there, but I can't hear you on the other one?
I don't know.
That is so odd.
Here's this one. It's for my camera.
Oh,
And that one now it's for my audio.
Here, I'll take that. I'll take that anyway. But yeah, I swear to God, I just don't understand why Melania forgets everything that happened under Donald. And she literally brought it down to quote unquote strong tweets. That's what she thought Donald Trump did. That's the only thing she thought he did.
So here's what you can't forget about Melania. She's one of them. You know, sometimes people feel sorry for her. They think that there's an echo in my earphones, my headphones. They feel sorry for her. They say, oh my gosh, how awful would it be to be married to him? She must be miserable. It's so bad. Save Melania, right? But I remember, and I've been saying this for a long time, she appeared on The View during that whole Obama birther movement.
Mm-hmm.
And she gave this interview to Joey Behar where she came out and basically accused Barack Obama of not being born in America. She's just as ugly on the inside as they are. So that's more evidence of it right there, where she lies. Oh, the only thing bad is some strong tweets. Really? What about the only thing bad is other bad things about the rhetoric about immigrants, hurting people in a community that don't need to be hurt, hurting women. Women are dying right now because they're being denied medical care, reproductive medical care, thanks to her husband. So you want to talk about all the bad things? Oh, yeah, just a few strong tweets, Melania. Keep thinking that.
She doesn't really care. She doesn't really care. And that's the truth. I mean, wearing that jacket said everything. Now, we want to compare. Now, pretty on the outside and evil on the inside. I don't want to, I'm not saying she's an ugly outside woman. I think that the inside part makes the outside look ugly. You know what I mean? Like, no, is she an awful looking, physically looking woman? Mm-hmm. Of course not. Arguably, she's a attractive, typically looking woman. But again, I think that Hillary Clinton gave an interview where a bunch of first ladies, she was with a bunch of first ladies, Michelle and all the others. And Melania just kind of felt on the outside and didn't really talk. And I think that it's because, not that the first ladies were not trying to include her, but because that's her personality. Like, she doesn't exude warmth or wanting to connect. And I think that Donald Trump and her are exactly similar in that way. It's
interesting.
I
heard Hillary Clinton recently give an interview talking about all the first ladies gathering and who they were sitting next to at a funeral. Head of state, someone of importance died and they all had to gather, right? And she said Melania just kind of stood there at the edges of the group, not really knowing what to do with herself. And Hillary Clinton said she thought it was because basically of the toxic nature of her husband. Like, these people can't welcome me into their group because he said so many awful things about their husbands, about them, right? About everything. So she just kind of stands there like, are they going to accept me or what's going to happen? And she said that they were really nice to her and they welcomed her in, and that Melania seemed really surprised by that. I thought that was interesting.
But it's always the Democrats, right? It's always the Democrats. It's always the nice people that have to extend the freaking table, right? I mean, because we want to be nice. We want to be inclusive. Heather says that's the other thing. Mama 3 boys. She's a total, bigot, xenophobe, yet she's a freaking immigrant herself. Exactly, Heather. Exactly. It's like she shuts the door behind her. We're all immigrants. We're all immigrants. It's
and yet, much, right? They're so mean to immigrants.
You know what I mean? And be like, oh, how dare they come here and steal our land? Screw you. It's a bit rich. Come on now. Come on. I don't know. But okay. So that's Melania. That's Donald Trump. And then Kamala Harris has given an interview as well. Now, a lot of people have been criticizing Kamala Harris because they say she's not a good interviewer. Donald Trump has been criticizing her for not giving enough interviews, along with JD Vance. So she was on MSNBC. I'm going to play a couple of clips. You let me know what you think. She was on with Stephanie Ruhle again. I want to play this first one because this was one of the funny questions that she asked. I want to start with this first one. This was what I'm going to call the McDonald's question, okay? Because Donald Trump has constantly criticized Kamala Harris for apparently saying she worked at McDonald's, and Donald Trump does not believe that she did. So
I just ask you about a little job and a big job. Okay. The first one, just a fact check, because your opponent
there is no little job.
Okay,
there's no such thing as a little job.
Okay, fair. Because your opponent almost every day seems to be talking about this. So I just want to ask you yes or no. At any point in your life, have you served 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, working at a McDonald's? Yes or no? That's it.
I have.
Okay. Now the other job.
But it was
Okay.
not a small job. Like I did the
Okay.
fries. I mean, yes,
Okay, for a
but
small
I did.
period of time. But then let me ask about a big job.
But to your point, if you don't mind, before you get
Please.
to the big job,
And I like this answer. Listen.
there's a part of the reason I even talk about having worked at McDonald's is because there are people who work at McDonald's in our country who are trying to raise a family. I worked there as a student. I was a kid who worked there trying to raise families and pay rent on that. And I think part of the difference between me and my opponent includes our perspective on the needs of the American people and what our responsibility then is to meet those needs.
I think that's a great answer. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we always say this, right? Like, oh, people that work at McDonald's, that was never meant to be a job to support a family, right? That's an entry level job. And yet, when we walk into a McDonald's, we damn well know we see adults. We see moms and dads and people that have that live in apartments and have mortgages or rent. We see adults, not teenagers, not 17-year-olds. People have real bills working there. So we know that that's not the reality, right? We know that's not true. And so these are people that are working hard. And we also know it's a damn freaking hard job. We know it's a hard job. We know damn well working that fryer and flipping those burgers is not easy. And yet we are flippant, and we're flippant with those jobs. And we like to say low paying jobs because we like to have a status saying we are upper crust. We have to have low paying jobs because then I have a higher paying job. I am better than you, right? You are lower than me. I am higher than you.
Right.
So it's to keep these people down, even though they work their asses off, right? Even though they work 2 jobs, they get burned at the fryer. Right? They don't get to see their kids. They're busting their ass. But you're low paying. You're low and you're going to stay low. And God damn it, we don't want to give you any more because you're a low paying job. It's BS.
I know I told you that I used to go to Wendy's and get an iced tea before I picked my kids up to from school. Now I have my Coachella Valley coffee iced tea, and it's all I need. But back then, a few years ago, I would go to Wendy's, grab an iced tea for like all the activities through the rest of the day. I'd have something to drink near me. And got to know the guy that worked there in the afternoons. And he told me that this was his first job. And then after he got off shift, he would go to a different city nearby. And he had a shift as a gas station attendant at a gas station. He had 2 kids. He's working 2 jobs. So at least 16 hours a day, plus an hour to travel in between them. That's America. These are people who are struggling, who are living in apartments, who can't buy a house, who are struggling to come up with money, right? So she has a point. She has a really good point. I don't even think that Donald Trump worked his way through college if she's talking about just comparing the candidates.
Exactly.
Let alone having a family and trying to support them on low wages on a minimum wage job or 2 or 3.
Exactly. And I mean, who can relate? And I think that teacher Lori, obviously, Lori says, I didn't put my 7-month McDonald's job at 17 on my resume to be a scientist. Why would it be on her resume? I don't know if it's on her resume. I think that Kamala Harris mentions it because she wants to, relate, and because it was part of her, it was part of her upbringing, right? Like, I used to work at McDonald's. I have mentioned to people all the time. I've mentioned on this show, one of my first jobs was at Togo's, right across from the prune yard. It was one of the first Togo's that ever existed in San Jose. And if you grew up in San Jose, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I think right now it's a Thai food restaurant. Every time I pass by it, I still pass by it almost every day. It was a little house. It was my Togo's restaurant. I could still remember where I used to sit and smoke a cigarette on my break. Okay. I always mention it. It's one of my first jobs. I used to work at the original Pancake House. It was my first hostessing job. These are the jobs that make you who you are, right? And that's why Kamala Harris mentions it. Because McDonald's, having a job at McDonald's, it's one of those iconic kind of first jobs. And people have it. And I think it's great that she mentions it. Yeah, Gordon, Trump's job was to spend his father's money. Yep, exactly. I don't know. It's relatable. Kamala Harris is relatable. Donald Trump is not relatable. Bone spurs and spending his father's money. Give me a friggin' break over here. I don't know. It just bothers me. It just really does. Okay, let me play a couple more clips of Kamala Harris. One has to do with her tax plan. Because again, Donald Trump's tax plan was meant and written to sunset for all us middle America people, not the rich people, because that will never sunset, because obviously. It was meant to sunset during the Biden administration. Always was meant to sunset. Because of course. Why wouldn't it? So here it is, her answer to all of that.
Taxes, because lots of people will say, I don't like Donald Trump, but he cut my taxes. He didn't just cut corporate taxes, he cut individual taxes. Now that expires next year. And there's some people confused saying, I don't know what's going to happen next year. Under a Harris administration, at what income level should someone expect their taxes to go up? And that state and local tax deduction that's currently capped and matters to a lot of people in blue states, are you going to lift that cap?
So first of all, when it relates to anybody making less than $400,000 a year, your taxes will not go up. Your taxes will not go up. And in fact, under my plan, taxes for 100 million Americans will actually be cut, including $6,000 a year for young couples for the first year of their child's life in a tax cut, a tax credit, essentially, by expansion of the child tax credit. And why is that? Because during the first year of a young couple, of a person's child's life, they're going to need help buying a crib, buying a car seat. And we all benefit when they're actually able to do what they naturally want to do to take care of their child.
And expanding that child tax credit, or you mentioned housing before, giving that extra money for a first home. If you can't raise corporate taxes,
Right.
or
Here
if
we go.
GOP takes control of the Senate, where do you get the money to do that? Do you still go forward with those plans and borrow?
Well, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes, and we're going to have to make sure that the biggest corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. That's just it. It's about paying their fair share. I am not mad at anyone for achieving success, but everyone should pay their fair share. And it is not right that the teachers and the firefighters that I meet every day across our country are paying a higher tax than the richest people in our country.
So I agree with that. And I had just shared, I was talking to my Republican friend that I always mention. And because I had shared a clip of Bill Gates talking about this exact same thing, that billionaires should be taxed more. And she doesn't like Bill Gates, but that wasn't why I had posted it. Because, Warren Buffett, Mark Benioff, so many other very rich people have said the exact same thing. Like, the tax structure doesn't benefit you guys. It benefits me. And I wonder why. Because rich people, if you don't know this, especially young people listening, they lobby politicians to write tax code that benefits them, right? Like that's lobbying, and having, rubbing elbows and being in Washington and having all that kind of, moving and shaking type of influence, right? Obviously, rich people have a lot of influence. You want to know why Kamala Harris and Donald Trump come to states and have these campaign dinners where it's $500,000 a plate, and who's buying those plates and why? Think about it. Think about it. You know what I mean? Like, they're not doing it for altruistic reasons. And I'm not saying they're doing it for, bad reasons, but they're doing it for a reason. And if you don't think that, then you're being extremely naive. And it's across the board. Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Green, everybody's doing it for a reason. And there's a variety of reasons. So let's not fool ourselves about it. But the rich people want to stay rich for a reason. And some of them like to do it through philanthropy to make themselves sleep better at night. And other people just want to stay rich.
Eric makes the point that tax breaks for the 1% were permanent. You heard the ones for the middle class will expire.
Always we're going to sunset. It was built in to make Biden look bad and for Trump to say, look, he's screwing you, ignoring the fact that he's the one that wrote the tax law, making it sunset. He's the one that did that. But people forget that. Rev P, thank you so much for the $5 donation. He writes, just a little love to you all. So glad you're continuing the show. Thank you for being here. We always love our support. And thank you so much for the super chat donation. Gordon says, Nikki, exactly. It's a form of corruption. It's all corruption. I mean, that's why Bernie Sanders always says he wants to get all of this money out of politics. Getting big money out of politics. Citizens United, that whole Supreme Court ruling. Young people, again, educate yourself about this stuff. You know what I mean? This is what's wrong with politics. It's the money. It's the money in politics that is the problem. And until we are able to get big money out of politics and really go back to low dollar grassroots funding, it's never going to stop. It's never going to stop. Right. So it's really it's a really difficult thing. But again, get out there, vote, do all of those things because it's really never going to stop. So again, Kamala Harris, I think, did a really good job in her interview. There's so many things that came out in that interview. I think she did a good job. I think she was able to quiet a lot of the critics that said she was not going to be able to do an interview without a man by her side, quote unquote, which I thought was absolute complete BS. I don't think that she giggled or laughed too much in it. I think that she was herself. I think that she, one person, and I'm not even going to play the clip, she said holistic in one of her answers 3 times. So what? You know what I mean? Like, who cares? Absolutely, who cares? Growing up in California and with a Governor Newsom who loves to say certain words all of the time, I think I'm desensitized to people that say certain things all the time.
Meet the moment.
Yeah, and meet the moment, exactly. It was a softball interview. Yes, so was Donald Trump's or whatever Ainsley or Melania Trump's interview with Ainsley, right? Like, you're not going to go on whatever Fox News or whatever, right? It was a total softball interview. But I also think that she did ask, where are you going to get the money? And she said, I'm going to go after the corporate taxes. I mean, what else do you want her to say? That is the answer. That is the answer. I would never go on Fox News because I don't think that Fox News is a news station. So you're not going to go on Newsmax. You're not going to go on OAN. So, I mean, she could have gone on ABC. She could have gone on CNN. She went on MSNBC. So,
what's interesting about you say not going on Fox News is Pete Buttigieg. And he has said in the past that he goes on stations like Fox because those are the people that need to hear his message, that don't ever hear his message. So maybe it would be smart for her to go on a station like that, face the hard questions because she's got the legit answers and she's got the right side of history on her side.
That is true.
So
I mean,
go on those stations, take your message to the people that really do need to be convinced, because maybe there's some of them out there that really are getting spoon-fed and don't get the real truth.
Well,
or maybe it's a
obviously
waste of time. I don't know.
They are being spoon-fed. I mean, obviously they're being spoon-fed. I agree with you in a sense, but there's a part of me, Kim, that going on Fox News legitimizes them in a way that they do not deserve. I mean, given the dominion and the voting systems, it's just no. They, especially leading up to an election, no, you do not get to have an interview with a presidential candidate leading up to an election as if you did not play a role in what happened last time. Screw you. No. Sorry, I'm bitter. They do not deserve after what happened in 2020. I mean, to pay out what? $2 billion after the last election to Dominion because you straight up freaking lied? No, you don't get to interview presidential candidates several weeks before the next election. Sorry, not going to happen. That's just my, that's just, because that's just going to make people think that they're a legitimate news source. No, screw you. Eric says they take sound bites and edit them to make them look bad. Absolutely. I don't trust Fox News. I don't even think I should say news after the word Fox. Screw them. No. The only Fox I watch is KTVU, and that's only in the morning, and that's because they're local. And so that's it. Okay. In the last several minutes that I have, I do want to give time to do, it's kind of sad. And that is, of course, to say goodbye to the Oakland A's. I do want to start it off with a little bit of a rant, and I know many of you probably saw it, but I thought that he did it so well. There's not many times where I think that anchors / reporters, I mean, Larry Beals on ABC7, he's an anchor, right? He's not a reporter.
Yeah, he's a news anchor and a sports anchor.
Yeah, he's a sports anchor. He's very passionate about his opinion about what happened with the A's. And I just want to play a little bit of the clip in regards to John Fisher in a letter saying his quote unquote apology that he wasn't able to make the Howard Terminal A's ballpark happen. Basically saying we tried everything we could, and unfortunately, we couldn't make it happen. Here's a little bit of Larry Beal saying, yeah, freaking right. Here we go.
You tried 5 different, extremely flawed stadium proposals. You never got even close to a shovel in the ground. Yes, Oakland politics is often a mess. I will give you that. But John, you surround yourself with incompetent yes men. And because you were born into a billionaire family, apparently never learned you have to spend money to make money. See Joe Lacob and the Golden State Warriors, your buddy, who still wants to buy the team. John, you're a serial penny pincher. You've destroyed your family's great name and legacy because of your cheapness. As for the statement about loyal A's fans, quote, I wish I could speak to each and every one of you individually, end quote. Seriously? John, we've been trying to interview you for years, but you always choose to remain invisible unless you're begging politicians for public funding. And then you're out in front in Las Vegas. Okay. So let me just deal with this.
There
For
you
all
go.
A's fans, I can't do this enough.
So I just love the fact that he was just so passionate about it. But again, it's very, very sad. So last night there was a game, and then there was the last game this afternoon. I loved this. I have a couple of videos that I just saw on social media, of course. This was one where they were putting some dirt in water bottles
out to the BART ramp,
which I thought was so sweet.
That's awesome.
For people to take a little bit of history home with them.
More than happy to meet the request.
And I just think it was so sad of people. Like, I don't know how many people, did anybody in the that's watching the show? I don't know if did anybody go to the game last night or today? I know they won today, which was really good. They beat the Texas Rangers 3-2, I believe the score was. Was anybody able to go? They did raise the price of the ticket. I know people did. Well, of course they did. But I know I was listening to the news this morning. People were out there at like 5 o'clock in the morning to watch the game. But here is, just to watch it together, here is the final out at the Oakland Coliseum saying goodbye.
Here's the 1-2, Jankowski to Schumann. And the ground ball will end things. A 3-2 win for the Oakland Athletics. One more win for the Oakland fans.
A W on a day that everybody in the Bay needed one.
So yeah, that's it. Now they're gonna play what, 3 years in SAC, I guess. That's it. I don't know. Would you go to Sacramento to see the A's? How many people are gonna drive to Sacramento to see the A's? I kind of wouldn't do it in protest, I think. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not a baseball fan, and I'm definitely not going to drive to Sacramento to see a baseball game.
No.
Yeah, Gordon
But
says they still look sad even when they won. Yeah, it's
there are
kinda
people
sad.
that grew up going to those games who have good memories at that ballpark who, they're A's fans, and
Yeah.
now that's over. That's over for them.
Yeah, I was reading one headline and they said it's like it's robbing a generation, of baseball. One guy was being interviewed. He says, I was able to afford to take my kids to a ball game, a professional ball game. The Giants are nice, but it's expensive to go to a Giants game. It is, between the food and going to San Francisco, it just is expensive. The A's were affordable, for
Right.
many, many reasons. And now they're not going to be able to. They don't have the Warriors. The Warriors are in San Francisco. The Raiders are gone in Vegas. And apparently, maybe the A's are going to go to Vegas eventually. Yeah, I mean, it is a sad day. It's the end of an era. I can't believe it actually happened. You guys remember, I was really, really optimistic that they were going to be able to make the terminal work, and they just weren't able to. And
I don't think I've ever seen anyone try anything harder to make something happen than Libby Schaaf.
I
In
know.
that Coliseum, and she was working it.
She was working it. It's so hard. Well, goodbye to the A's and sad for Oakland, but end of an era indeed. All right, and that's the end of our show. Thank you so much. I want to give a lot of thank yous. Luis, thank you so much for the $5 donation and the adios to the A's. Also, Luis, thank you for the $10 donation and the love for Mark Cuban. I could not agree with you more, and his support for Kamala Harris. And Luis, another $5 donation. What a game. I thought about you and would have dispatched a wellness check for you, but you're not in LA County. Great game. Hope SF and LA get healthy. Let's see. Janet R, $20 donation. A little something for my two favorite YouTube ladies. Love Thursdays at 5. Yes, we are here live on Thursdays at 5 o'clock. Cocktails or no cocktails and news. Rev P, love Rev P with a $5 donation. A little love to you. So glad you're continuing the show. Thank you. Thank you. I also want to give some love to Daniel. Thank you so much. And Lori above the bar. Thank you guys. You're still making your donations on PayPal as well. If you guys want to donate to us, we really appreciate it. Go to our Patreon. You can find the link at theNikkiMedoroShow.com. The Red Jack Saloon, that is where you can get the Medoro Mule, the McAllister Kimikaze, and the Martini for the Mark Thompson Show. You can go there. The Red Jack Saloon, it is an awesome neighborhood bar. You walk into it and you're like family. I am telling you. If you go there, it is so much fun to go there. You're going to feel right at home. And if you go there, tell them we say hi. Just go order our cocktails. I'm literally drinking the Medoro Mule right now. It's delicious. It's like vodka or bourbon, club soda, and ginger beer. It's delicious. So please support the show. We love doing this for you guys every single day. Again, our Patreon, theNikkiMedoroShow.com. If you want to PayPal us, just go to PayPal.com and then put in our email address, theNikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com. And then support our sponsor, Auntie Tabby's barbecue sauce. So go to AuntieTabby's.com. And she has this delicious guava barbecue sauce. It is unique. It is so good on chicken, on beef. It is so good on fish. Put it on everything. Chicken wings. It's great. So if you go to AuntieTabby's.com and use the coupon code NIKKIM, NIKKIM, you get 10% off every single time you order. And it supports the show. So again, go to AuntieTabby's.com. You see it on your screen. Support the show that way. And it's absolutely delicious. All right. Come back here next Thursday at 5. Cocktails and news. We love you guys so much. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate it. All right. Love you. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.